Hey, welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School. As always, I'm here with my co-hosts in crime, but to introduce ourselves, I'm Brian Doyle.
Tim McNeil.
And I'm Robb Rogers.
And I now love doing this every week because Rob hates it. So, today, folks, we're going to be keeping on with a theme you've been seeing. We've been having a lot of our fellow Pitch It contestants join us on the podcast. And today I'd like to welcome Chris Dix from ChatStyle to the show.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about, Chris's journey and all that as well in just a couple moments. But, I wanted to kick things off and say to Tim and Rob, but more importantly, Rob. So, I'm starting to get ready for the throwdown, bro.
Hey, Brian, you're talking a lot, but it's game on. It's gonna be brutal.
So for you listeners who might have not listened to last week, Rob threw down the gauntlet, which was, it's quite interesting.
That's all sales. That's not how it went, Brian. You threw down the gauntlet.
Oh, there's no way I threw down the gauntlet.
You started it. I'm going to finish it.
I'm a fantastic, comfortable guy that doesn't like to, stir the pot at all, man. But you keep your eyes out. There's going to be some fun coming in the next couple of weeks as Rob and I go mano a mano, as they say. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes I don't understand why a featherweight would go up against a heavyweight, but
But hey, you made the challenge, so I'll go ahead and go with it.
But I'm going to let that ride for now, and we're going to jump in here and we want to hear Chris's story, right? You guys get enough from us every week.
I am excited about this one. I like this stuff, Brian.
Yep. So yes, Rob has embraced the AI world.
I love it.
Nice. You definitely have a fanboy.
Yes, he is. He has become a fanboy. That's because most of his former dates in high school and college were artificial intelligence. But
ouch.
Anyway,
it's funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're here to talk about real intelligence. So I'm going to move away from Rob, and we're going to go in and kick things off with Chris now. And hey, Chris, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun already.
You did not know what you were getting into when you showed up today. But
I hadn't watched enough, but now I'm getting a feel for it. So.
Yeah, we want to apologize in advance, Chris.
The good news is, Chris, you can only raise this up.
That's right.
It can only go up from here. There's no doubt. But, the way we do love to kick things off is to learn a little bit more about yourself, your company, and really how you ended up in the crazy world of MSP, because all of us have a different journey into this arena. And it's always fun to hear how people got here.
That's definitely an interesting story for me. I'm not an MSP. I've never been one, but I have a lot of friends who I've worked with over the years who are, who always have projects, things to work on. And so I kept hearing their, problems, their opportunities, their need to communicate better with customers, the need to have customers respond a little faster, and just not lose information that's getting moved around in these various platforms. And so that's kind of how I got pulled into the wonderful world of MSPs.
So, before you got into MSPs, I'm sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I just want to kind of know your background a little bit. Like what got you to this place?
So I'm a software developer. I have been since I was about 12 years old with my Commodore 64 and
Nice.
My BASIC. And so I'm been the guy for years who my friends who are MSPs would bring in on a project. Customer has some sort of special need, some sort of custom development that needs to happen. So I've kind of became a jack of all trades as far as software development goes, front end, back end, a little bit of everything. And so that kind of gave me a good skill set for what we needed to do with this kind of platform. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, are you? I mean, obviously, we're all in Pitch It together, right?
Yes.
You say that the MSP community is your main target.
I'd say at least for now, because I think that what we're building has a application for their customers too. But MSPs are sort of gatekeepers for some of this technology, earlier adopters, and getting on their good side and showing them that they could use a product like this will kind of open their eyes for the opportunities for their customers too.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many avenues today for bringing in chat, and there's a lot of different tools that are out there that do different functions. Maybe you can give us an idea of what what was the problem that really drove you to say, I think there's something here. I think there's something I want to do.
Well, I think the first part of it was just a lack of really solid tools for some of these other platforms like the PSAs. They just customers want to use chat to talk. It's the most popular form of communication on the planet. I mean, your customers are using it, your techs are using it, but to try to incorporate that into a business process is a real challenge. I mean, it's coming in from multiple communication paths. It could be SMS, it could be Teams, it could be Slack. So that's one of the challenges right there, is trying to figure out how to handle it wherever it's coming from. You can't ask your techs to support 15 different communications paths all day long. So yeah, that was kind of what brought me into it from a challenge standpoint, is like, can we even do that? Can we make a tool that could really capture all this information no matter where it came from?
And put it where, Chris?
And put it into two places. One, the messaging application that your techs use. So if you're using Teams or Slack or even Ring Central, we're supporting now on the tech side, we want to get that information in there so that no matter how the customer is trying to talk, you can handle it in what you're already using. But then when the other side of that is really, that's not enough, because already your techs are using that tool and information is getting lost every day because you're solving problems inside of these channels, inside of these private threads.
Yep.
And that's not where you want it to be. That's just another data silo. You want it to be in the ticket. You want it to be in the notes, so you can really build on that knowledge and track that time that's getting lost.
Okay, so what do you do there?
So we tie in the conversation. So anything that comes into that tool, we can track a thread inside of Teams. We can track a thread inside of Slack. We can then capture the transcript from that, put it into the ticket as a note. We can capture any documents that get exchanged in the thread, put them in the ticket as attachments, and your text don't have to do anything. It just happens automatically.
Automagically. Wow. That's the best.
I love that word. So yeah, that's the exciting part of it, is trying to save your techs time, trying to make sure they track their time better, that they don't lose information, that everything just fits the process the way you want it to.
So tell me, from the other side of the fence, right? I'm a customer and I'm doing the contact and I'm kicking off that communication. Maybe it's off of a link on the website or a link on Facebook or something like that. What do I expect to see as this process goes through, right? I've kicked off my message, it gets converted into a ticket. Where, do I now go away from that thread, or am I still part of that thread as we move forward?
Yeah, well, partly it depends on how the MSP wants to support it. So, some places are 24/7. Got customers all over the world, and then some places, it's Friday 5 o'clock. Chat's done. But it's still. But the nice thing is, it's still going into a ticket, right? So, even that was one of the things that one of our early customers sort of, it drove them, is they had a customer who used Slack. They don't use Slack, but their customer refused to give it up, and so they had a situation where the customer reported an issue at 4:45 on a Friday via Slack, and nobody saw it till Monday morning, and it's like, no, we can't function like that. So but if it goes into a ticket, kicks off all the normal workflow processes and notifications that you want. You don't have to be in Slack. You just have to let your customer be.
So I'm in Teams. I'm part of the thread or the channel that this communication comes in. Is there a way to control who's taking the ball? Like, is there any kind of round robin capabilities or anything like that? Or does that end up being ticket workflow?
Partly it's ticket workflow, but we're working on building some queues and round robin type, functionality into it. Right now, you can handle it one of two ways. You can either keep it in the thread in the channel, and then any tech can jump in and respond and talk to the customer, work the ticket, or you can click a button on a smart adaptive card in the thread, and then it'll actually transfer it to the individual text, so it's a little more fluid. The conversation. Different customers use it different ways.
No, but that's pretty cool. So you've got the ability to kind of control this workflow as it's coming in and being originated in real time. So that, hey, I want this to go to Tim, not Rob, and I've got that capability to make that assignment without having to go into my ticket system and go through the 26 steps that I have to do.
Yeah, and so a lot of the work we've done is in that Teams and Slack integration. So, depending on how it comes in too, like maybe this is for customer A, so you want it to go into channel XYZ. If it came in on for this, priority or this queue, you want to route it to this channel, we can do all that. So it's a lot of the work we've had to do is in that automation of the ticketing tool of the conversation tools on the chat side.
That's pretty interesting.
So you probably have at least a segment of MSPs that maybe they use some sort of pod system where there's a team atmosphere. You can send it to like that team or the individual. That's very cool.
But I like that you can build some standing rules up front, because you're absolutely right. As you're developing a pod, like Tim said, or you've got sales things coming in. Can you key off a language as well too? So if you see certain phrases, it's able to kind of push to different queues. And if I'm getting too crazy, you let me know.
No, that's some of the stuff, and maybe this is where Rob will get excited. The AI side of it. We've talked about automation and chat, but we've more recently tied into some of the Azure Open AI services, ChatGPT, and that really opens up a lot of doors for key things like summarizing, sentiment analysis, natural language parsing. So being able to just say things to the bot, like, I want to open a ticket for this customer, here's some information about it, and have it do it. But also, like on your side, like what you're saying, have the AI analyze how it came in and say, what is this ticket really about, and route based on that. So those are some of the things we're building out. It's just scratching the surface of that, but it's a pretty exciting space to be in.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, how long have you been working on this, Chris?
Oh, well, this is our third year, I guess. So, it's changed a lot, and the last 6 months have been insane with the way AI has exploded and, the opportunities. But we built it hoping that something like that would be available one day, and here we are.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you talk about things like picking up sentiment, I use a tool for a lot of my demos. So that'll just look at sentiment, because I want to see, where in my demo am I seeing peak interest? Where in my demo am I seeing those decreases and in interest, so we can amend our presentations. And
nice.
It blows my mind how much can be picked up through basically a video and audio stream. And when you start looking at customers, you're spot on. The one challenge that we've always had when things came in through email was, how pissed are they? Right? Let's call it what it is. Is this, going to be a problem that escalates very quickly, and we're treating it as a standard priority call? What's written in between, and some of that sentiment stuff shows things that you just don't expect to see, which is pretty cool. And I could see that being huge.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about, we don't let it do a lot of talking to the customer. Most of it's too easy to get off the rails at this point still. But we have experimented with some of the very targeted uses of it facing the customer. So if the customer says something like, yeah, my printer is broken, being able to let the AI, suggest a couple of relevant questions, follow-up questions, the first three things your tech was going to have to ask anyway. So that's another application of it that we're using that I think is pretty exciting.
That you're using now, or is in development?
That one we're using now. So
wow.
So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so that's probably the place we're using it the most at the moment, is in that optional but so our product is structured on a low code scripting kind of environment that we built. So it allows the MSP to say, okay, I want to use some AI here, or maybe no, I just want to ask one question and move on.
Wow. Okay. So what PSAs are you currently integrated with right now?
Right now, ConnectWise, obviously, with the program, and AutoTask.
Okay.
We're working on implementations for Halo and actually Freshdesk is one that a particular opportunity came just for. So pretty much anything with a API, a contact, and a ticket in it, we're gonna try to hit one day.
What do you have on your roadmap as far as, like some of the others, out there, for being integrated? Like how far out are they?
I would say Halo and Freshdesk later this year. It's probably third quarter.
Yeah.
Also looking at Atera, and possibly looking at some of the other more CRM type functionalities, so that we may have more application for MSP's customers. Like a HubSpot or Zendesk type products.
Okay.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a higher adoption over the last few years of traditional CRM tools into the MSP space, and not just leaning on the embedded CRM tools that have been in the PSAs. So
definitely.
A lot of these private equity acquisitions are driving towards a stack of Salesforce and ServiceNow. So another thing to consider.
That's a good point.
Cool. So you've told us a little bit about what the platform does. I think we got a good sense of how it can manage those conversations, bring it in, and really help your tech team kind of focus on working where they like to work, which tends to be usually in Teams or Slack, right?
Yeah.
What's on the horizon in terms of, how are you marketing the product today? What are you going out and how are you getting demand and helping people know you're out there?
Well, we're trying to be places where the customers are. We're trying to be on Reddit. We're trying to be in the Slack forums, trying to also be on the ground and events in the near future. I wish we were going to ChannelCon, like you mentioned before, but we're trying to line up some events just to be visible, be out there and get involved in the community. It's just we're also talking to partners, trying to find some opportunities to grow.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
very good.
Well, I'm excited.
Fellows,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Rob.
No, we're coming up to the end of our time here. Is there any other things that we want to talk about here as we're wrapping up?
I was just going to simply say it's been great getting to know you, Chris, through the Pitch It program. I'm looking forward to seeing ways that your technology can potentially integrate with the things that we're doing. For those that are out there that are looking at chat tools, get past some of the basic ones that are out in the marketplace, because they do very straightforward, actions. This concept of bringing things into teams, I love it, because that is where a lot of your engineers want to live. I'm working with customers every day, and all you see is Teams messages popping up when they're, on the screen with me. So anything that keeps them focused and active, I'm all for. So kudos, man.
Hey, I got a question, Chris, before we wrap up here. Are you seeing more people going with Slack or more people on the team side now? Like, who's winning that race for you?
For me, Teams. And there are some people who will never give Slack up. It's it's just but as far as the overwhelming interest and people choosing that platform, it's just hard for MSPs who are doing Office 365 to turn down this free tool with all these features that can do this. So, but the challenge has been for some of them, especially with Slack. Some of them were early adopters of automation and could figure out how to build a Slack bot and make some things happen.
Yeah,
Teams is a whole different world. You can't do that, and so that's why we've put all this work into it, to try to make it so that MSPs can maybe do some of the automations that they used to do in Slack in this new Teams world.
All right, very cool.
That's great.
All right, well, fellas, we are coming up to the end of our time here. Chris, I really appreciate you joining us here today. For anybody that is looking to get in touch with Chris, we will be including his LinkedIn profile with the podcast to include the link. So please, see this episode, go to mspbusinessschool.com or anywhere that you get your podcast, to include YouTube. So please go there, check it out, like, subscribe, hit that bell, and always remember that Robb will beat Brian in the Pitch It contest, mano a mano, duking it out. Chris,
Yeah.
I love these, chat things. I'm really excited about this one.
Hey, thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward, I'm almost forgetting that I'm in this too, because now I just want to see the mano a mano here.
Yeah.
I got to really,
Yeah.
it's going to be fun. So.
Let him
Yeah.
keep. Let him
It's
keep
a literal
getting out the
cage match.
words, man.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
know,
thing called natural charisma, Rob. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's like Brian and I are just going to be fighting for bottom. Like who's going to be the very last contestant on pitch and who's going to be the second to last. I'm just hoping it's Brian.
Well, I tell you what, Sean said something. I did one of the podcasts, and I'll close with this the other day. And Sean said, "Oh yeah, we should get some of the Pitch It finalists on MSP Business School." And he said, "It'd be great if you guys aren't in the finals, because then you can host it." And I'm like, "Dude,
Thanks, Sean. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well
Nice.
said. Well
Good
said.
sell. Good
Nice.
sell right there. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, we do
All
have
right.
to go. We have to get on the Pitch It call
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
So
good one.
I wish
You've got
everybody the
a whole
best.
minute.
Yeah, we have time. Plenty of
Yeah.
time. All right, fellas. Take care.
Thanks for
thanks,
coming on,
Chris.
Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Bye now.
bye.